ICM investigation of the corruption of the federal and New Jersey courts. Hi, everyone. This is Hnatio, the Executive Director of the Institute for Complexity Management, or ICM for short. This past week, we released the results of our nearly year-long investigation into the matter of a New Jersey homeowner who has been fighting to save his home in Wall, New Jersey. The results of the investigation reveal a system of justice in the United States that is deeply corrupted by one of the nation's largest and most powerful banks. In this particular case, the ICM report takes the form of an Amicus Curiae, or friend of the court brief, to the Chancery Division of the Superior Court of the state of New Jersey. You can see a copy of the complete motion to the court below. The mortgage fraud scheme has impacted thousands and thousands of homeowners who have lost their houses across the entire country. They have lost the equity they built up in their homes. They have suffered the mental stress of upheaval of their entire families. They have lost their personal possessions resulting from forced evictions, and they have suffered the subsequent inability to find credit servicing both in their day-to-day lives and their ability to get a new mortgage on another home in the future. The level of corruption of the federal and state of New Jersey agencies and the court system is beyond any words I can possibly say. To be quite honest about it, I have never in my 50 years of investigative experience seen anything like what I'm going to tell you about now. What we found are things like court clerks making judicial decisions on the foreclosure matters in the stead of judges who are supposed to be presiding over the cases. Court clerks intentionally holding the motions of homeowners from reaching the courts in time for them to be heard before their houses are simply sold out from underneath them by the court. Banks being allowed to submit forged documents of ownership of homes they really don't own, by courts knowing full well what's going on. The courts allowing the banks to initiate foreclosure proceedings for homes the banks do not even own. The courts knowingly continuing years of malicious prosecution of foreclosure proceedings against homeowners when they know they have no right to do so. In legal terms, this is called original jurisdiction. Judges who simply refuse to respond to motions by the victims of the mortgage fraud. And then there's the real rub. The judges of the courts intentionally suppressing evidence of the fraud and forgery of proof of ownership documentation by the banks so that they can simply take the houses of innocent Americans. But the most important message coming out of this investigation is that none of us live in a land where a single rule of law applies to all of us anymore. More than anything else, this groundbreaking ICM investigation demonstrates the emergence of two rules of law in America. One for the government, the wealthy, and the powerful, and another rule of law for all of the rest of us. It also reveals that executive branch enforcement agencies are not working for the majority of Americans, oh no, but only for the wealthy and the powerful who have taken control of the law itself to satisfy their own greed. The very agencies of our own government that are supposed to be fighting mortgage fraud are actually helping the rich and the powerful banks by turning a blind eye to the corruption, the massive corruption that is actually taking place. This is why we encourage every American to take just a few minutes to read the Amicus Curiae brief that was just sent to the courts. It is now time to act if we are to save the Constitution and our freedom. The Fifth Amendment says that the government is not allowed to capriciously take your property. The 14th Amendment says that all of us must have the right of due process of law. But for most of us in America, the Constitution is no longer the single law of the land. Thank you so much for listening, and please read the Amicus Curiae brief.